All right, folks, let's get to it on a Thursday. What's happening? Settle on in. Great to have everybody. We're going to dive into the Dow. We will look at some progress, NASDAQ and some of those big stocks. Take a peek at crypto, and then we'll talk about next week. Just really quick, everybody, get with Harmonic Pattern Collection. Start with TradingView. Especially new people. People are asking me about the other platforms, MetaTrader, eSignal, Ninja, Sierra. I recommend that you try them all. You're able to try all of those for free. But we work with TradingView most of all. And so send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. Get a 14-day free trial. I'll give away one 30-day package today. That's it. I want to give you guys a chance to try the software. You know how I roll. I'm pretty easy on the entry access. Get started. Everything really begins there at harmonictrader.com. So if you didn't know that either, over at harmonictrader.com, just go to the main page and become a basic member. All the resources are there, and also we always send you an email with like 6 or 8 videos to get you started. So check all of that out, set up with the software, and begin the process. I want to talk about the fact that before we get there, no one's really talking about the fact that the Dow is almost at 50,000. That's kind of like gold going to 5,000. And then what that means for everything else, because it's catching up. S&P doing okay. NASDAQ is struggling a little bit around 25K, but I don't think it's really a big deal. What can we say about the Dow? As I've been repeating myself for good reason, with any market you're looking at, tell me what's going on the last year or two with the trend. Okay, pretty firm, steady, 45 plus degree, and I just you're gonna want to ride this thing. We seriously plus minus 10%. Okay, the easiest way to think about this is that this is our path forward for the next 2-3 years. Of course, we're going to be on the top side in an aggressive, super friendly market. We're going to have our shakeouts like here back in March, and then lesser extent last October, October 23. But this path forward, guys, this is the concept. I mean, this is any methodology. All right. The basic premise is that, listen, we're going with the trend. So whatever you use to determine where a sizable retracement can occur within these long-term trends is your edge. That's the edge. And then I think the other side of that is simply avoiding the stuff that doesn't look like this. And there's lots of it. I mean, there's so much of that. So be aware of kind of the larger take of what, especially now and next year and into 2028, we are in the sweet spot. What's the sweet spot mean? The sweet spot means is that you BTFD every chance you get, praying for daily oversold levels. So that's the Dow. I think 50K is just a number. I think there's bigger, probably more relevant measures, and even for the Dow right now, guys, we could hit it tomorrow or Monday, probably by Tuesday at the latest. But that's just a static round number. It's a big one, but look, the measured level, which is the other aspect of everything we will do, it's always been what we do, the exact measured level. If it's crypto, if it's futures, if it's stocks, take it down, measure it to a defined level. Our assumption, especially with this kind of a chart, guys, just a matter of time, is a 1618 minimum price discovery target. That's more like 52, 52.5. And I've done this in the past. We haven't spent too much time on the Dow. Probably should, because I think we are seeing a resurgence and the Dow is picking up steam. The trend is beautiful. I mean, this long-term trend, it's not as sexy as the NASDAQ. S&P's running stronger, more aggressively, but I don't think, you're not going to get hurt riding retracements on the Dow and just being willing to go for, a mere 12 to 15% a year, if not more. Next few years, I mean, it's just an easy kind of layup. Larger targets, yeah, I mean, we can entertain them. But I want to be really clear. All right, the Dow is certainly one of those markets that people are overlooking, and it's an easy uptrend. So great to see everybody. Oh, you know what? Sorry, guys. My people, I had to run out this morning. I just, I got a few other things I had to take care of, so I didn't even hit my links up. I didn't even put up. You got to be kidding me. All right. Give me a second, everybody. So great. Hold on. Let me get that set up. Come on in. I know. I'm trying to get more on time at the 12:30 level. I think it's better for even more like 12 o'clock. So maybe we'll do that. I gotta hit that up for a second. Guys, a couple of the things in the Dow specifically that I've mentioned before that I think are going to be big winners. And that's all it's going to take. A handful of markets that are aggressively trending and just sit there and bang every 4-hour retracement pattern. We don't have to overcomplicate it. So for the Dow, or even for if you're, want an ETF type vehicle, the diamonds, again, just pull up 4 hour charts and we'll just wait for, look, arrow diamond, dot arrow diamond, and just keep waiting on stuff like this. We're clearly accelerating. We did generate a 4 hour oversold, believe me, at a much higher level. That's like 477. Hopefully we come back. That would be the next level. But time and time again, 4 hour chart on the diamonds is going to be a really steady, consistent opportunity stream of trades. That gets you to 500 plus, or, I mean, it's just the diamonds, in my opinion, go to like 520. I mean, just think of this as like a Google, or think of this as a slow moving Amazon at this point. Amazon's in there too now. But the kind of the old school stocks like that, the diamonds, Walmart, guys, I've continued to bring this up. Walmart putting in a daily dot yesterday, checking back. And this is a perfect example of a continuing trend, accelerating. Now, we've got a nice little pullback, not too far off the all-time high, but it is another setup here in the last 24 hours or so. Walmart right around 111, 112. Take you up to like 120, 125. That's one. The other one is Caterpillar. And the thing about this, I've mentioned it several times, is that the retracements that we're getting, we're look at this uptrend. Going back, what is that? April. I mean, remarkable. 267 on Cat goes to 600, but what changed? What's going on? There's definitely, this is a new paradigm shift where this aggressive trend just continues. And then look, 572 was the last continuation. We're just getting each of these at a higher level, and they're not giving it back. These are markets that are making progress and making more progress. And you don't have to fool with, is it going to come all the way back against me like other asset classes? So appreciate it, Wayne. Yeah, guys, sorry about this morning in terms of my crew. I had to run out. Anyway, a couple others. And these will be the ones that we'll just size up, and we will use these sessions to define exact price levels and say, guys, okay, maybe it's time for a 30-day option, or go to a quarterly option. Play it target to target, or just play it to the next 1618. Even Caterpillar, this is essentially the idea. Real simplistic, using the 1618 and looking for things like this. Get a daily retrace, arrow dot, bang, and then play it for a 1618. You didn't get all the way there, but that's your upside target, at least till, well, you had a bearish dot. You could go dot to dot for sure, or even dot to arrow. But just, we're looking for these 1618 advances, another retrace, oversold, a bang, get back up, topside possibility like, 1618, 665-ish. That's the idea. One more of these. Again, JP Morgan, guys. You guys, these names. All right, and we don't have to guess on these names. It's not like Beehive miners who decided to now go exclusively mine Zcash. I'm making that up. I'm talking, these are the real monsters that are just going to continue to win. There's JP Morgan. I don't even have anything on JP Morgan. Maybe these mild HSIs every time. And that's, again, just with the software. But every time, higher, consistent HSI. Just run it, just wait for these 4 hour HSIs on these markets. if we know the Dow is going to continue this, everyone's going to start freaking out 50K industrials, then these are the winners, the obvious ones. I could talk some of like I could say Apple too, but I think we're almost about ready to get oversold on Apple. Nice little pullback so far. I would have this certainly. Apple's just another one, and we talked about Apple. Why? Just waiting for this to. It was at the top end of the channel. All right, let it come back down the median. We're at the bat at 272. But that's another one. Again, I don't want to overcomplicate these. I think there's a few areas where we could speculate. Other parts, not so much. So you guys let me know. I mean, I think people have been asking me, what about like Mara? I mean, just a couple of crypto requests, or the Coinbase stuff people are asking me about this pattern for Coinbase. And I think it's an amazing pattern, but it has to prove it to me. I'm watching Coinbase closely, guys, really. I need to see this progress. My concern has been if we don't get above here. I mean, this was kind of like the first thrust. This is potentially strong. I don't want to, and I've been really kind of thinking Coinbase would not see this setup. But if it bounced, did a reaction, especially since what we did yesterday. Yesterday really was day one, second shot on this Gartley, but it pretty much has to go from here. So that's something where I'm watching it. I want to look at keeping my eyes open on all of these. I think, Coinbase. Let's see what happens. I think we could get a reaction here. And market picks up in the next few days. Let's see. Where's market right now, guys? NASDAQ futures look like this. And what are we? We're off $1.50. I mean, we're all over the place. Yesterday, today. I now making that progress back up. We're almost 700. Great. Where's the 5-minute? Yeah, see the 5-minute thing here. This has been a real challenge. Had a couple of back-to-back signals and a lot of chop. My RTH signal, which was here this morning, it worked out on the bearish side. The bullish side did not. I mean, it was a quick up and stop out. It wasn't even quite 40 points. The trigger was there at 77. 77, and we went to 11, so it was exactly 40 points. And then it rolled right back over. I took a couple of shots there. And then we had this, and this bearish dot right there on the futures sent it down, like, I guess that was 100 to the low. But it really tough. What we're dealing with right now in futures is this big type 2. Where'd you go? Is it off? Wait a minute. I think my bearish patterns are off. No. Where's my shark? I'm supposed to have a shark up here. Hold on. Butterfly? Yeah, it was a butterfly on extended hours. Maybe, maybe I had it on the mini really quick. MNQ. That was the big contract. Here's the mini contract. No. Strange. One second. Come back. I guess it was both on these. This butterfly. I know I'm going to find it later. Anyway, it's a T1, and I think it's over. We've got this secondary dot. This is basically what we look for at the end of here's a type 1. Again, T1 there, Arrow diamond, send it down. No dot. That was a tough one. No confirmation. Ideal, but there. I'm kind of. Let me look to. I'm going to go to the QQQ in a second, but big flush this morning, and it's just real choppy, really choppy this morning. I think it's. Hold on. Yeah, this. Look at what's going on in the daily, guys. Just super squeeze. I still think this will break up. It just they're gonna really pinch it like that, and then there. Um, First week so far, we haven't done much. I kind of was looking for a tax loss selling situation to end towards the end of the December, maybe have some profit taking early January. So far muted, but everybody's looking at that big squeeze there. Which way do we break? I think we break up, guys. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Doc? Everybody else, welcome to the chat. Come on in. You guys, let me know how the sound is. I think I've worked out all the issues from last time. Yeah. Let's see if we can push that up. Where are we? It's been a lot of kind of chop until last hour, I guess. This morning, really the last two patterns since the low, the type 1 reaction on the crab, and then type 2 down here right off the hop at 89. But nothing yet. I'll just show you this as well. We're actually already in the type 2 for the shark. Tough to see, so much chop, but there's T2 here. And I'd be looking for confirmation. If we get a little reaction, we're not there yet. No reaction there. Hey, let me show you guys a couple of ideas. Things that I've showed you before, stocks to be looking at right now. I'll give you a couple. Iron Mountain. Been talking about this since 83. Okay, we're starting to make progress. What is here? Type 2 on this deep crab, little itty bitty crab. The weekly's better, coming off a weekly signal at this. Look, we talked about trend lines, and we're gonna want HSI and dots and diamonds. Oversold confirmation at major trend lines, patterns at those major trend lines. This is the stuff that's gonna win. Okay, making its progress here, Iron Mountain. And 87 currently, we're looking at that really turning up. The interesting thing is, check out what's going on the weekly. We're hitting the 50 level. So we're breaking through that this week. By tomorrow, that's valid. And then hopefully tomorrow or Monday, we get a pop where, again, we get to the 50 level on amplified to really get that going. That's one. Okay, that's definitely one. Really close. These are some name specific, not really the big mega cap, but real specialty situation. The other one, we looked at this on Tuesday. Hymns. Now, love the pattern. Okay, we're on a weekly no less. But here is what we need to see. We're going to have a green week this week. Little positive close. Any close next week, tomorrow, above $34 seals the deal. And then we get a bullish next week, and that would give us the dot for the final confirmation. If you were looking for a place for this thing where it's going to kind of do the continuation of this larger rally, get the dot. Get the dot and do the major continuation. And I would say a lot like what we had last year. Weekly chart, no less, with a pattern. We're still early, but that should be on the radar as well. What was the other one? Hold on. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Uh, what was it? I can't. Was it CCSI? I think it was CCSI here. This Consensus Cloud Solutions, big crab pattern. I think might not be it. Might not be it. Couple of patterns. That's not it. It was. I'm sorry. Somewhere. Was it Celsius again for that secondary entry? Ah, that third one escapes me. Yeah, it might have been Celsius. That's already gotten away from us though. That was down at 40. Could This really gets to me. Was it Copart? It was somewhere in the C's. I'll come back to this. Um, yeah, I'll come back to that. I still want to look at a couple of semiconductors that are just absolutely ripping. Okay, again, here's one that you guys probably don't know of, but you want to get it on the radar. Lam Research, I mean, just continues all-time new highs. But what's going on here on a weekly basis, absolutely insane. I mean, this is overstretched, but it's overstretched for a reason. I'm looking for this to be kind of this new second tier of tech, especially the market cap plays. And this is something you guys should be looking at as well. So you hear all of these companies, hey, this is a hot tip. HIMS, for example, perfect example. What's the market cap of it? All right, I think you should start looking at market cap because Lam Research here, 250 billion, wasn't too long ago. You know, you're all the way back here where you were 25, 30 billion back in 2022. This is already 10x'd. Okay, and it's gone a long way, but this is also another one where you're going to stick with leaders and continue to just line these up. This is, put this aside, put it on your list. I literally have, I'll show you this, the list, TheeList. These are top picks. And I'll go through this in a little bit, but all of these are on there. Okay. And some of the other ones like the Quantums, Googles of the world, Nano Nuclear, all of these have the same thing. They've done impressive uptrends, continuing higher, and just, are going to keep that trend intact. We talked about SMR last time, guys, and never got down to that. Hold on. What's going on? Why am I on log charts here? Hold on. Hold on. Never got down to 1232. Okay. I'm not going to chase this. I would just wait on this. A few people asked me, hey, did I see this or did I see Bloom Energy? I don't know if you guys know that one. Another energy play for all these data centers. I mean, look at Bloom Energy here. 3 weeks ago, that was 80 bucks, $75. It hit 125 today. It's all right. If you missed it or you don't know about this one, just again, understand this is happening on a whole population of winners, things that are trending hard, that are continuing. Bloom Energy, guys. All right. That's what a real winning chart looks like. And we could look at this a few different ways, but the last retracement phase down here with the clear HSI with the dot, really nice ballpark area for a continuation entry. And you could say, well, it's gone too far. Up from 20 up to 140. Why would I chase that? Well, you could have said the same thing back here Okay, when we were 8 or 10, I went to 28 and then came all the way back down to 17. And then bang. This also has a lot to do with market capitalization. This is now currently 29 billion. Down here, that was 2-3 billion. Where do you think it's going? 50 billion? 100 billion? Something that major is going on in these kind of a plays. So just understand this is the trend continuation year. If your market, if your asset is not trending hard like this, you better find stuff that are. That's it. I mean, Google's the other one. I mean, Google 380, 400. That's, this thing is it just finished a massive retracement with another daily pullback there. So just amazing. Really quick, let's take a peek back in NASDAQ. Give me something to jump on here. 175. Let's go to a 5-second chart, guys. This is the other thing here. All right. Oh, got a 5-second. Let's see here. Oh, there's a little 5-second bat pattern where 62, currently 67. Where's the 30-second? Nothing really. It's been a tricky day today. 5-minute. Nothing really. We're super chop. I do think this hourly chart, we just entered that about 3 minutes ago. Take a look. So here we are with, starting with today of the current action. It should be an RTH, really. Regular trading. Don't have it on RTH. Just extended. Look in here. This is why we were down today in the butterfly from this morning. 25,970-ish, and target one was 717. I mean, you went all the way down to 25. What was that? 60, 150 lower. That's fine. You're always just focused on the type 1 here. But if I'm looking for the return, guys, it's going to have to be off of a dot retest, something like that would be the first place to start looking. And we had actually 2 arrows here telling us support is more like off this last bar. So for right now, open 70. Look at it like this. This is the first place I would start looking, right at 70, and that was about 5 minutes ago. If I'm going to expect this to be finished and have a return phase, is that it for the day? And then we're going to return it back up. Like I said, right now 660. We could easily go back, even in a reaction for later today, 717. But I consider this almost done entirely. Where's Amplified's not above the 50 yet, but listen, this is for this afternoon. I'll jump over to Bitcoin in a second. I know you guys are wanting to know about Bitcoin. People still asking. I haven't changed. I just think it's people are hoping. Hey, chat, keep an eye on this one. All right, we're looking at the return to literally, it just started about, I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 minutes ago. The open trigger is at 70, so we're going to look like a 70, maybe 50 ballpark, somewhere in there. Looking for a signal somewhere to literally start maybe an afternoon rally. Not there just yet. Keep an eye on that. But the longer term, that daily, that literally just started about 5 minutes ago. The thing I've been noticing, we've been talking about some futures, and then during this 12:30, 1:30 hour, futures tend to do a nice little turnaround. So let's think that. Let's keep an eye on that, and then I got the platform open, so I'm literally going to start hitting trades if we get them. All right, so beware. That's going to, if we have a setup, I need a super clear setup. I love an RTH kind of signal, but we'll start doing that. And then Wednesday, I forgot to mention, I'll be sending that out to everybody who's already on the list. If you're on the list, that's fine. But Wednesday, we're doing that special session on the NASDAQ, the NQ 5 minute confirmation, and then doing some, real specific futures strategies. Yeah, the shark right now for the NASDAQ still in a type 2. Keep an eye on that one. Um, you guys have a couple things you want to look at. What's going on? What exchange do I trade on? I trade mostly NQ, just about all NQ for futures. I mean, I'm looking more at S&P, but I just think it's a lot easier. You can be more precise with the NASDAQ NQ in terms of if we have to give NQ 10, 20 points to see if there's a real pivotal turnaround or inflection versus S&P, that could usually see those push through the zones. Really quick, couple stocks you guys want to look at, like VST. What's up, Wayne? Thanks for posting that, by the way. VST, Vistra. Where's Vegas? He's probably working. He's the one that turned me on to this one. This was one we were looking at last year as it made its bigger move up and just waiting. This is another trender. I like this one. I do like this one. Okay. So this is another tech AI style play that not a lot of people are looking at. Real clear, we're getting these strong moves, retracements. Here's another strong move. Look at our arrow diamond dot, guys. That is the ideal confirmation. Okay, using the dot for the trigger entry. But with the diamond, this has been, I think, a bonus, highlighting really critical levels. So we have 1 and 2, and our third test right here, right now. Is that failing? Is that failing? Well, it hasn't really turned around yet. I mean, look at the last 2 times. Look, we get the signal, and here's the signal of the dot, and look where HSI and amplified. They're at 50. So they're ready to go there, or even back here, back in July 24. Where's HSI? Where's amplified? They're at the 50. At the 50, they continue. This one maybe needs a little more time, but we're getting close. And this is another one that Vistra, VST, currently 50 billion market cap. I mean, this isn't a small company. All right, looking for the retracement play against the uptrend to continue. I like it. What about the daily? Bingo. I thought there was something there. Bat pattern, ugly, but it's a bat pattern off the top. No confirmation yet, guys. But I would look at this in the next week or two. That's half the battle. I mean, half the battle is lining this stuff up in front of you so that you're there when it triggers the signal. Really easy to kind of go back and look at past patterns. That's why I'm always kind of pounding the table on levels and specific markets. A couple more. NBIS, that's a good one. What's up, Dan? Nebulous, is it nebulous or something like that, right? Nebulous, that's right. This is another one of the AI plays, the data center, right? And that was a 2. Oof. See? Sleeping on it. I'm sleeping on it. NBIS, this was a big winner last year. You look at the likes of Bloom Energy, Rocket Lab, ASTS. This is another one that's in that area. 79.92 was the type 2, guys. Look at that. That's beautiful. Only thing missing, I mean, you had the arrow and you had the diamond, no dot. but I would think that's enough confirmation. How can you take advantage of this? If it's going to 117, which it should be, I would play it like this. If you're really strong and aggressive, well, 4 hours a little overbought. The 4 hour was even, look at that sweetness. But maybe go to the 5 minute time frame and just look. The way to think about this is if this is coiling higher and you're in a new kind of T2 type 2 reversal move, well, then every time we get, arrow diamond dot or just arrow dot, like, back here on the 8th, Wednesday, is set yesterday, there or there on two, every day. So just waiting on those 5 minutes. And I'll be the first one to say, look, we don't get patterns all over the place, guys. There's a reason why, because they have to fit specific measures. But it's pretty clear within the longer term framework. Like we have a really clear daily 4 hour type 2 that's starting to make a lot of progress after a successful trend line test, like that. Put it together where, this trend is continuing from here and minimum kind of targets is above 100. We know that. 102, 103 in the short term, 117. Would not be surprised. And if it goes beyond that, great. But take it in chunks, and this next chunk is higher. What's up, Echo Leaf? Wants to look at GHRS. GH Research, don't know that. I don't think I've ever seen this one before. I like what you're getting at. Definitely, you can't call it really a low floater, but there's progress here. Let me look at the whole. All right, looks like it's an IPO. Came out in 22. Did the post IPO dump 886 reset. Currently 16. You're gonna, again, not like this, especially after the pump, but you'll get another shot. Right now, it's overbought. Right now, describe it to yourself. What's the pattern? What's this last pattern? It's a crab. And you're at a type 2. Okay. I can hear the FOMO. I hear that you want to buy this because you think it's going to 100. And it very well could, but not till it resolves the type 2. Look, software saying T2 right here at the hop. You're done for now. I'm good for now. Let it come back. You even have confirmation, dot, arrow. You'll probably get another dot. So this is the way to think about it. Okay, not a bad idea at all. Something's going on, making progress, big surge up. Think of that as like a first thrust. Gets on everybody's radar. But are you going to be the one that stays with it? That then after 30 days comes back and gives you another signal? That's why you get it on the radar now. And then go again. I'll show you one that is that's really rocking. And I put this up a while ago, and it's finally starting to work. Is this Intuitive Machines? All right, is at the hop level. But I want to show you this. I posted this last summer. It took a while, and we were at this shark down here, just kind of banging against these levels. Well, now we're 20 bucks. Okay, so you will get another chance here. But that's Lunar. Right now, Lunar, Intuitive Machines, hitting a hop level. It's done. It's probably done for now. I would expect this to pull off a 20. But this is the kind of thing where these big moves, you get a big move. Everybody then sees it here. But are you willing to stay with it when it retraces and gives you that secondary signal? That's going to be key. NASDAQ rolling over a little bit. Let's take a quick look here. Came back down. Back down off of that. Where was the 30? Nothing yet. There's still no confirmation. We're still stuck in this range. We got the shark. Yeah, that was the last thing, but no confirmation there. Like 32, I would be looking for this. Isn't that the two? That is a T2, and we didn't get any confirmation up there. Typical with chop. You guys didn't remind me. You were supposed to remind me. A couple more. I'll come back to that. If I tell you what, if I had some kind of confirmation down here at the level, like around 32, I would look as that as a return trade, at least a retest trade, but not yet. We didn't get confirmation. And then the other one that, especially in these chop zones, like if you really wanted to scalp, the 5 second chart is the only way you're going to see anything. If you've never seen that, check out patterns on a 5 second chart. Anyway, let's do a couple more. And I got to get to Bitcoin because I know people are thinking it's going to 100K. It's not. What's going on, Dan? Thanks for that. And that was a good one, by the way. Chipper Flipper, Adtran, right? ADTN. Adtran Holdings. What do we got here? I know the name, just I haven't looked at that in ages. Right on. Hey, hey. Look look at what we got here, right? That's an interesting candidate. Clearly the shark stabilizing and on a weekly. Now this will still take time. It is a definitive recovery candidate. What does that mean? Well, you don't look for a home run, but hey, this could recover at least 2/3, 886 of this whole range, and you have that confirmation. So down there just retested at 780, 775, now 875. Looking for a T1 minimum 16. So I like that. I do. That's in a good spot. Where are we with? Yeah. Look at what Amplified's trying to do here. This is that's a good one, Chip. Look, this is what we want to see with these 50 levels. Great one. Look, cracks the 50, little pause. Now we have the new breakout. That is the little jig that with the software. Listen, there's a couple ways to look at the software with flat out confirmation, and then also looking for the 50 levels breakout or breakdown for the acceleration. That's classic right there. Nice one. A couple more. You guys have a few stock in a minute. Nothing's really changed on it, but we'll get to it in a minute, I promise. And Ethereum, sure. SMCI, what's up, bud? Been a while. Happy New Year. What's going on? SMCI it's a type 2. It is. We've been waiting for this for a long time, and I think we'll get it. It's down at 22 though. It's a type 2 weekly. Patience. We had to wait on that for a year. I thought that would hit it back in April. That would have been the best. On last March, April's decline, that would have been the best thing for this. It's this extended type 2 return that has to hit 22. Maybe 7 points lower. Yeah. Mr. Ken is asking a really good question. What's going on, Mr. Ken? Ken's asking, is anybody concerned about the tariff ruling in the Supreme Court tomorrow? I am. I think that could be a big news driver. It is, if they turn that around, I would be really surprised if they do. But if they flip that, yeah, you could see some issue. If not, then that would be like the last thing I would say is holding this back. Well, the two things holding back this economy are that decision and Powell. We got to get Jerome Powell out of the Fed and get somebody in there that's going to drop rates. Otherwise, we'd be a lot higher. A couple more. Someone's asking about Chevron. You're not going to get hurt. I still think this is in a type 1, by the way. but you sit there, you pick up the dividend. You're not, if you're in Chevron or Exxon or some of those majors, okay, you're not, you're really more of just like a safety play, dividend play. And I think the reason why this is holding up is because energy demand is increasing. Although crude oil is dropping, price of crude, and I've talked about that last time. I do think we're going to see sub 50 or at least $50 crude. But, Chevron, ExxonMobil, their path is like that. And you're going back to 1995 or, even before. So you're on this kind of a trend. Even if it dropped, guys, the next 5-10 years of ExxonMobil is like that. So pick your spot. I don't think it's ready. I would still look, if we got to 127, that would be a perfect spot for the reaction, the 4 year reaction to be over. The only place I'd be looking, again, we said this on Tuesday, in terms of energy plays, are the refiners like Valero. We also talked about Marathon. These are going much higher. Much higher. I mean, Valero's all-time new highs right now. You got it, man. Happy New Year to you too. Thank you. What's up, Thales? Wants to see. That's like your third time. You must be long UPS or something. UPS. Well, another recovery candidate. Let's get some perspective, right? Check out the monthly. That's pretty fat. Something happening here. I wish we had confirmation, but maybe on the weekly, because we do have a weekly pattern. Not the best, but a recovery candidate certainly. I'm interested. Maybe coming back to life. UPS has been in a 4 year downtrend. Look, it's like this. Flat out, technically, everyone's waiting for that to break out like that. Get out of that downtrend from the last 4 years. I would say it's probably going to be like this for UPS and other. This is like Target and this is like Nike, and it's a recovery candidate. It's not price discovery, but maybe you come up, you back test this. We flash. It's 107 right now. I think you look for the 99 retest. And this is probably not a bad spot to maybe look for a turnaround play for longer term. But, back to 99, back test this, break it out. But it's probably 3 months away. That one. What about Target? Target's the other one. Big monthly. Oh, look at Target. Look at what happened there, guys. Maybe it's time to start looking at these. Massive bat pattern. We've talked about that. XA is 101. Terminal bar was 90. And that's more of the kind of progress I want to see in these because, look, if you've been down for almost 4 years since the last peak and you're down 60%, you can give that some price and more time before trying to jump it and make the assumption that it's going to finally turn around for the first time in 5 years. But it's a great pattern and it's a great setup. So Target, okay. Nike was the other one. When are we going to turn this sucker around? I mean, that's deep in the hole. But if this is nearing the end, can we put in a higher low, please? Because we do know that target 1 is 112. I mean, that's the assumption. So you're 64.92. You have some confirmation down here. What's the monthly? Monthly, not really. Not really showing much. Maybe stay on the weekly. But that's the kind of idea. I do like the weekly for Nike on what's happening here. For the first time in a while, first time in a year. Look, we're above the 50. Last time that happened was here. We had a little bump, but we're looking for a major turnaround. Keep an eye on that. Nike, Target. Oh, the other one was Disney, guys. Disney's like this. And these are, look, they're major companies, major potential turnaround plays. Even if they retrace that, you're not going to get too burned. Like even if Nike doesn't do anything all year, it's still not a bad idea. Recovery play. And there's Disney, guys. We're basing here. Amazing. But, that was 23. We've been sideways range for 4 years now. Disney will bust out. I know a lot of people have written this off as like a woke creature of the dead, but um, I wouldn't discount it. Wouldn't discount it. That's another one there. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Will Nike start going away? Start Nike start selling shoes at Target? I don't know. 76% on Polymarket that it'll be ruled illegal. That's interesting for the tariffs. I don't know. Let me quick peek on NQ again. Where are we? 660. Yeah, all right. We're range bound today. What are we doing here? 5 second. Mm, haven't had much since the morning. A couple of these bullish patterns haven't had much since then. 20, 30 point range. The 4 hour time frame, guys. This is the thing. Really quick for the Qs. That's what I wanted to look at. The QQQ is still in that. And I wanted to just mention this. We're still up at this sideways consolidation range of the 1618, and that was uh, 628 right there. It's this. So keep an eye on it. There and then there. That's the 1618. And we've been dealing with that since, geez, what was that? August? October. October. Once this breaks, though, and we take above 640-ish, it's gone. So sideways on that the QQQ for today, the 5 minute range is just pretty much stuck here. Maybe 619 for the day. Not I just don't. Last day or so structurally been lacking, especially today. A lot of chop. Um, yeah, right now the Q 619. Let's look at that. Keep that up. Are you kidding me? You know what? I'm gonna have to take that off. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna have to close. That's been the problem. I've been running that in the background. I don't know why. Hold on. Bear with me. How we doing? Give me a check-in, guys. Let me know. If you got a spinning wheel, please let me know. I don't know what the problem's been. Don't know. Guys, Bitcoin, let's talk. What are we doing with this? Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Well, last time we were talking about Bitcoin, we were saying shark to 5-0. And in fact, that's what I was one of my last posts 2 days ago. Really quick. We hit 89,000. It's going to be like this. Because I know people were asking, what about crypto? It's like this, okay? Here you go. There you go. This is it. Great. So that was where we left off, right here. And we were shark to 5-0. So now we're 5-0. And that was 2 days ago. Now what? Well, we're back here, 89,000, well, now 91. We were 89 about 3 hours ago. I would say that this is still stuck in the range. Nothing has changed on this. 95 to 85 still the entire consolidation going forward until something breaks. And I think it's a lower break. But that's the box, and then ping pong your patterns in between. So we left it off. We were here saying come down for the reaction. And I would look at this probably into the weekend. Come back, do another retest. Come back to like 93 or maybe even 94. And then I would look for that to finish the week. Next week probably really starts to whittle out this range. That are we going to come back down and do it would be a type 2. And I know I'm kind of getting in front of myself of making a lot of assumptions, but this is the expectation going forward. Bitcoin returns back up to 94,000 max, maybe a touch at 95. I don't even think so, and then that would be the type 2 off the shark. You go back 3 months, tell me about the 4-hour range with multiple patterns, not also forgetting that we had a failed bullish pattern it's actually now acting as resistance. So still stuck here. When does this break? Either way, how do we know? Well, what's the last daily signal? HSI overbought right now, and that retest, that's like 93,700, and that would really make a lot of sense. Come back, retest it, and somewhere in here put another dot to where I'm still looking for 77. We've been bouncing around here. Also notice we have a lower high. It's again just this pause. I would think for that final move down, you're really close to triggering the end of this consolidation. 77. Go back, retest. We call that the looping deep crab type 2. But it's there. Okay, I'm nothing changes on that on the Bitcoin read, and you can break this down. We're still looking at weekly amplified. We're at the 50 on HSI. That's something, but you need a lot more than that. And then the monthly, this is the biggest of it all. I think by the end of January, February 1st, we're going to see where amplified is. And that's, for me, the final piece where this begins any kind of larger acceleration. Your amplified RSI has to do this. The next bar, 2 bars. So it's going to take time. My whole perspective has not changed on this. And I'm looking for that breakdown to really seal the deal. Much like what we had here in 2022, guys. And sometimes we're looking, a lot of us, I know for myself, especially early on, I would look at RSI and I'd say, all right, well, maybe this is the spot where price accelerates. No, price accelerates when it cracks 50, especially like that. And we go to the chart. Look where the price accelerates on that 50 breakdown. There. If you're 2022, okay, it's April, May. Take you all the way into the bottom in October. Same type of thing here. Maybe it's like March, April, and then you do the larger second wave down. That's how we do it this year. I know a lot of people are hoping for a 5th year Bitcoin cycle, and it's not there. Bitcoin is not doing that, and I want to be, I just want to stay with it until the readings generate other information. If signals turn around on the monthly, or we get some kind of major pattern to take shape, so be it. But where we are right now, we're just respecting the levels. Internally, we're still looking lower, and then again, the other patterns, daily, weekly, this stuff matters. There. Ethereum, again, I forget, somebody was asking repeatedly for both of those. Ethereum is just it's a 2K entity. If I'm looking for 75 on Bitcoin, I'm still looking for 2K. On Ethereum for that larger retest. And here we are. It's a bat off the top. It's not the greatest bat, and it still kind of has like dud properties. And we keep running. Now we're into our second bearish HSI, like 3100, capping it, maybe 3150. I would say it's squeezed between there. 2650 to 3150 ish. And that's it. No fireworks. Nothing that I'm looking at. And if go on the daily here, this oversold. All of those are pointing lower. Weekly's similar. We came off of that 50 level. We came off of this last weekly HSI, but I would still want to see that retested. And that's like 2,700. So we've got more consolidation, lower levels. Not a heck of a lot there. Not yet. If I had a dot and I had a couple of positive things, maybe. Or if we had this is the long-term trend line retest, and that's like 1,700. I'm seeing something almost opposite technically to what other people are saying fundamentally. Everything's going to go on Ethereum. Everything's going to be on blockchain. And this is the year that's going to be the adoption. The chart is not saying that to me. So, what's up, Brian? XRP? Yeah, I mean, XRP, I saw a lot of people celebrating the recovery bounce. Okay, it looked a lot better 24, 48 hours ago. Oh, there's your weekly chart. Same like Ethereum. To me, XRP has just too many of these lower readings. Look, ever since the top, and we had stuff up there. Okay, maybe that was a place to look at where if it was really going to be a continuation for Ethereum, it should have blasted off of that test, that last one. But this secondary signal, that was devastating. And then we've had lower HSI readings all the way down there, and we just had another one yesterday. So I think that's it for reaction on Ethereum, and I have real concerns on Ethereum under this 180-ish, 175 level here. Okay, if you're in Ethereum and then you find yourself 150 or 140, oof, I would not. I would not want to be taking that ride. I would not want to be taking that return trip. And I know there are people. I know people personally that they've got their life savings tied to Ethereum, to the notion that this is going to be the new Swift. It's going to replace Swift. Like Swift is going to go away. I hear that all the time. Swift is not going away, people. Keep an eye on that. So that's last pattern was a type 2 hop at 353. And even look again. We go back now a year. What's the trend? I mean, a year the trend's like this. 2 years, if we go back 2 years, XRP is like this. So what is it? Is it going up or down? I would say immediate now is this double top. We're still down until give me a pattern. All right. I don't think this is a retracement play anymore. If it was a retracement play, that was here and we would have continued. Also, if it's not going to be a retracement play and we continue to fail, like we fail down here, this whole second half is, and I've talked about this, is at stake. I think that structure is broken. Couple more. Yep. I think so. Um, Aster, I don't know. That's that other one, right? AS. Hold on, Aster USD. So I think I know what you're getting at because there's been a lot of talk on this. I don't know what it is, but I think it's just like all these other crypto. They're cashing out on the public, folks. I mean, you have a new coin. You're not the only one. So what's up? Yeah, who wrote? Ken did. Ken, I follow it. I hear people babbling. I think it's a kind of coordinated PR effort. I mean, there's a pattern here, but look at the chart. There's no lower high. There's no higher high. There's no higher low yet. And this has been the issue with every crypto. And you're before you know it, it's 150, and then before you know it's a dollar, and then it's 75 cents, and then it's 50 cents, and then what? And I don't want to be in a crypto bash session, but again, I just want to kind of speak the truth here within the harmonic pattern framework. Cardano. Okay, Cardano was supposed to go from 65 to 125 and then really go to like $3. And it failed. And if you go back and look at history here of, okay, what's it doing? What's it done? There's a 5-year chart. Tell me where that's going. Is that trending? Not really. Not when you do this whole thing. Big 886 IPO, and then the second cycle is just a 382. I've talked about that many times. In Cardano, you fail 29 or 24 cents, there's not zero. I think that's something people are not paying enough attention to. That there's really not a lot here for Cardano to be a $13 billion entity. If it was going to be a bigger entity, this thing would be making a lot more progress than it is. Just not. And I think once this cracks and Doge cracks, and then you're back at 20 or 19 or even back to like, why wouldn't Cardano go to 5 cents, guys? 5 cents. Cardano. That's where the measurements sit. Sure, Zcash. I've been wanting to peek at that for a little while. 432. It didn't collapse it yet. I will say this. Weekly check back with HSI at 409. You still need a dot. This is the check back week right there. That's at 404. And you need 2 green weeks before that's even a go. I mean, at least that didn't totally collapse, but look at the last daily. Look, double dot. 1, 2. Perfect. And the second signal right there. 511. I really should, man, I should trade this on the sell side. I should trade these on the sell side. This and Ethereum and even some of those lesser ones, like the other one, Solana, which I think is vulnerable here. I see what you're saying, but look, time wise, it's 2 weeks, and Zcash in the last few days getting kind of rejected at 500. That's a big deal. You come back to 330. That's 100 lower. And look, got to be also real about the fact that if this is an unsustainable rally, okay, that's just basically a coordinated buy session, a 90-day kind of stampede, then why not do something like this? X, A, B, C, D, 886, right? You're going to get something like that because it's crypto, and there's really nothing behind that. You don't have a mass wave of money. That was the run. The run was from 25 to 750. And that's a 30x. Way to be. Yeah, I'm sour about it because I was long it and basically bailed on the position back in May before the big run. But I would still be looking for an out. I'm not one that thinks this has or anything has the potential to go to 10K. Last one on crypto, because I sound like an old man, but listen, Solana. And these are probably the ones to monitor. Like if you really want to know what is going to go on with crypto in general, looking at Solana and looking at Zcash and a few and Ethereum overall is going to tell you what's happening. I mean, bullish bat, but look what happens. Again, our number one dreaded scenario, you have a bullish pattern. Well, first, there's no bullish confirmation, but you got a reaction, and then right at XA, you go arrow, dot, bearish dot. That's resistance. That's telling you this reaction is a dud, which it duds out for 30 days or more, and then secondary HSI, arrow, down. That would tell me in this whole zone, it's taking its time, but it wants 108 pretty quickly. That's 30 lower. There's no opportunity. It's a beautiful pattern. I think that's also for next week. Well, part of what we're doing is to highlight even in more detail this situation, specific situation. One, it's not a trade, at least for me, because I don't have bullish confirmation. And then what makes it worse is that you have this bearish counter signal, two of them. Send it back down. And the weekly for Solana, I'll probably get more vocal, especially after we get through the next month or two. But, you know, it's a type 2. All right, on Solana, it's a target 2 at 105. Has yet to be hit. We have a weekly oversold, but no dot. So that has to get hit too. And if we don't, like, let's say this kind of flushes out, there is only one possibility for Solana. And I'm going to, you know, I'll take it in chunks. But if we're under like 95 bucks, then you target it straight to 47. And those are the only two options I'm looking at. I don't really have any bullish scenario to grab and say, hey, okay, this is a bullish pattern, or here's something bullish that could send it back up. I'm seeing the opposite. So Monero is the only true privacy coin. Maybe, but at what price? Guys, this is why we come in here and do this. And, you know, I offer the software. I probably should spend, I don't know, I'd probably tell some more stories about even why I'm doing what I'm doing. Monero. All right. Hey, there's a great chart. At the all-time 886. I don't know too many crypto that look like that. I really don't. Do I have anything there? No, there's nothing there. You know, it's just you're at the all-time 886 and you have a daily, look, there's a daily bullish trend. Okay, the dot, bullish dot within the uptrend. That gives me, you know, some concrete reasons. But and you can go back the last 2 years and it looks like that. So that all of that is, you know, works towards the argument of saying, all right, this is something that's worth it. But I don't, maybe Binance Coin, I don't have too many charts that look like that. A couple more. Yeah, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for all the people that got into it. Holding on, holding bags. Holding, you know, ripped off handles because the bag's gone. One or two more. Yeah, I can look at a couple more of those stocks. ATAI, what's that? What's up, Echo Leaf? Atai Beckley. Yeah, okay. I don't know what that is. I'll look that up. Medical nursing services. There's a pattern. There's weekly dot, daily dot. It's a recovery candidate, but okay, yeah, that's a better position. You know, there's the first low. There's the second secondary low there, and that's a tertiary potential continuation. That's pretty good. I like that. $3 ish. Keep an eye on it. Yeah, you pop amplified above the 50. Um, that probably becomes a runner. It's not a bad place right here, right now. 395. 363 is that's I think the minimum target. Maybe you get that one more time. Hey, did we give away a 30-day package yet? Who wants a 30-day package? HPC 30, okay? We'll do that. Please, if you have not won yet, let's give away one package. I'm kind of burned out on doing the hawking. So you guys know where I'm at. I mean, I'm here. You get the software. You have a question. You send me a note on the Discord. Let's keep it easy. A couple more. Grab. Satvik, you already won. You won like last week. Here's Grab. Let me look at Grab. If you won, send me a note. You won. Satvik. No, it's all right, man. If you're not with the software and you've taken the trial, you should DM me. And if you want the program, I mean, again, I'd like to know why. Or at least get on the monthly plan. I would think. If you're, especially if you're ready to make the jump and get serious, okay, you need the tools. If we're gonna do harmonic framework to really explain opportunities, understand opportunities, everything that I do from my analysis and what I'm looking at specifically is based off of the levels, off the software. Yeah. Oh, great. Welcome, Brian. Yeah, I know. You did for sure. What's up, Victoria? Yeah, and that's true. And you got to learn the lessons. But that's a lot of what we focus on is to highlight to avoid those lessons. Definitely. I was looking back at your other comments. Victoria was saying on Zcash the developers bailed, which when I saw some things about Zcash. I don't know, maybe it was a hate campaign. And I agree with the other comment, Victoria, of this it was a beautiful cycle the first half, but the second half did fool everyone's hopes and dreams of what was supposed to come. For sure. Everybody was looking for a big surge 2025 that did not materialize. Even me. Like the second level surge didn't happen. We got Bitcoin to the minimum price discovery levels, but we never got it to the extreme expansion. And that says a lot about the multiple cycles. Grab holdings. Yeah. Okay. It's like an Instacart play. Um, I don't think that's a bad idea. But again, you're 488. I look for the type 2 here. 346. It's a pattern. It's definitely slow development turnaround. But look, you've had a few down here on Grab down here at 251. Back all the way down for the type 2. Back type 2. And then goes. I like it. Can we get one more back here? That would be the perfect type 2 on Grab. And that's one where I do think you're looking for this to be a larger low and start to recover. Definitely recovery candidate, but work its way out to get back eventually 886 of the IPO. But next jump on point is like $1 lower. Definitely. It's not a bad idea. But again, probably these recovery plays that are not obvious trenders, just you're going to have to let them come into you. I mean, let them get oversold, set an alert. The 4-hour time frame needs a dot. So all of that's probably still lower, even in this immediate context, like 470, 450. Couple more. You got it. Dow Chemical, interesting. I like those. That one and DuPont. Sure. Oh, I do remember this. Dow's like all time down here on a monthly, right? Yeah, look at that. Nice, Wayne. Okay. So here, Dow Chemical was taken private years ago. Then they took out all the extra fat and then sold it at a premium, dumped it. It's been in a 5 year. It's like a new IPO. What do we know about IPOs? They love to go up, come back, do the 886 kind of reset. All right, mission accomplished. And now, okay, I have to call this for what it is. All right, it is a recovery candidate, but this is perfect. This is perfection. T1 software kicked it out. Arrow, check back. Dot and diamond on top of each other. Look, slow money, but this is official by the end of the month. And from that point forward, starting in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're looking for it to go from 25, 26 to 43. So that really sweet. Monthly chart, everything you want to see. Expect it to take a while. Expect that to take 2 years. But I like that one. High probability play starting February 1st. Yeah. What's up, John? Let's look at Rigetti. I'm the quantum stocks and all the news on quantum. Um, I think you got to trail. You got to really track these. Look for some entries here. 4 hour, still consolidating. The dailies like that, but we've seen that before. Rigetti somewhere in here around 25, 23 ish. I don't think that's a bad one. Hasn't really busted yet, but I think IONQ is probably the better, and Qubits and QBT have better patterns. IONQ is this shark just pacing itself. But look at the weekly. And this is another one. IONQ has this bearish pattern that actually reactions over. And so T2 is at 43. That should be about it. And looking for this to make progress to get back to 77 within that trend. And we're getting there. Look, IONQ. You're like one more week away from getting above the 50, and that would be a great starting point. D-Wave, Qubits, that's another one that's made progress. It's getting there. This stuff it's trending on that up. Look, it's still maintaining that uptrend. The daily is like this, so keep an eye on it. Still a shark. We talked about SMR and NuScale, nanonuclear and NuScale, those nuclear plays, similar. They're down here after some bearish patterns in October, just big profit taking off the huge move from beginning of the year. But NNE is similar to SMR. Okay, just hit some recent lows, bouncing. I would be looking at that carefully. I would be looking for entries down here, assuming that basically this trend line is holding. $25 is like your trailing stop, and you're looking for this to do a return move. You're 32 currently. You're looking for that back to 52. It's like Bloom Energy. I mean, Bloom Energy is the model of all of those, and that's already back up. A couple more. Got to look at silver and gold. Silver, we're at target. Be aware of that, okay, guys. I'm thinking the way this has been going, we got potential for much higher. But right now, just understand we are at targets. What are those targets? Your 1618 is right here. and that's like 72 on SLV. We have a dot, we have a diamond. That should be it just for now. I would think like a little pause isn't crazy. And, go on the 4 hour. I mean, look at that. That's just a maniac move. Maniac move. For SLV, 45 to 70 in 6 weeks is crazy. So we are overextended. I want to see this come back and get a 4 hour oversold maybe somewhere, or hourly even, which hourly is generating now. What are we looking for? Short term, think about it like this, okay? Silver and gold have got about 3 more weeks, maybe 4 more weeks. So I think look down here in the 66, 67 area. Give us a dot, maybe by Tuesday. But we should see that return back to 72, 73. I think the big question is this going to 100? I threw some numbers up last time, where 72 is basically first stop, but other targets more like 80, 84. That's possible. SLV on the silver futures, that's higher. That's like 85, 90 on the contract. But 2618 at 110, that is the real possibility. Like if this is going to go absolutely crazy, then it's after we get through this 70 level. We'll take it in chunks, but I think for now, just let it come off. We'll get another oversold signal, and then we'll jump on it. Probably the hourly chart is the one to look at. I would say 67 is the number for now. But silver going to 100, guys, is, yeah, I think it's real, and I think we're gonna, we'll see. We got to digest the numbers currently. We're as high as 81 on futures, but this, we did a 1618, 1902, which on the futures contract is like 75, basically where we are now. You start kind of going above that, look out. Hold on. Let me get those numbers right. Those numbers are like this. Yeah, 1618 is there. It's like 82-ish. Get that right. And I did talk about what's parabolic, and that's a lot higher. What's the maximum range? It's a 3618. That would be, I know it's crazy, but 163. Let's say it's some kind of super cycle. We've seen it before. That's where it would go. Check out what happened after the financial crisis. I think it's like a 2618, but it's the same type of assumption. We go from there to there. Where's the 1618? Right there. Okay, market, go up. What was the final peak? Well, there's 2618 right there. 53. And a 314 was that peak. Yep. Same kind of a thing. I think minimum 2618 for where we are now for silver is possible. And just like last cycle, we'll know after we get through this current 1618 test. But 314, 145 on SLV, that's futures get you above 150. Yeah, silver was shut, and you're having market problems too. It's great. It is. It's getting. Fundamentally, there's some crazy things going on. But we've hit targets. I'm just going to say that we're at targets where I think it has to at least pull in for a few days or a week before we go higher. And gold's 44.50 now. Looks like it wants to go higher. gold with this kind of a thing, already in we're looking at 3618 advance, which is like 48 right now. Your 2618 on gold is there, like taken out, blown out, destroyed. And so the next on the ladder is 314. Yeah, pretty much where we are right now. 4,500, 45, then 48. Anything on an hourly like silver? Yeah. Yeah, okay, check it out. There was a bat. So that might not be a bad one to be sizing up, where if gold's going to do that move and make the run to 48, I think it's possible. Say the final run into the end of the seasonal February, call it early February, do this, come back to 44, and then go. I think that's possible. But they're still higher. They've gone so hard in the last 2 months, much harder than I thought. I mean, I thought it would take until the end of January to do what they're doing. They got there basically Christmas. I don't know. NASDAQ, folks, 192. Where are we at? Diamond. Dot. No dot. What do we got on 5 second? Nothing really. It's been kind of a funky morning. A lot of grinding lower. We're going to see tomorrow. That thing is tomorrow. That decision on the tariffs is tomorrow. I think, Wayne, you were saying that, or Greg? Universal Code says gold looks bearish. He sees a big drop. I don't know of a big drop. I would say a sharp retrace. Some analysts, Echo Leaf saying, some analysts saying silver for 300 to 600. I think 150. And that's like some of my contacts are like industry guys are like, yeah, 150. I don't want to get too crazy. This is a super cycle for both of these, and they've got a long way to go. But we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, 150 is probably the longer term number. I think, though, let's get through 80 and then take it from there. I just, I'm impressed. I'm way impressed, but I think these have gone too far. Look at GLD above 408. And look at that monthly chart. It's just spectacular. And again, I really think Bitcoin's chart should have been doing this. Bitcoin's chart should be or should have continued the cycle and should have blasted off. And it is a telling tale that, especially when you look at like Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin XAU, something wrong with that chart. You did not do even a 1618 breakout for the cycle against gold. To me, that's like that definition of diminishing returns cycle over cycle. And people have been wanting to say for years, Bitcoin's better than gold. Bitcoin's, has the greatest performing return of any asset ever. But that's because they've been calculating it since the entry day one. That would be like you being able to calculate Bill Gates's return from the day he started Microsoft with Steve Ballmer, and who's the other guy? Allen, forget his name, passed away. But this is gold coming back. GLD to, let's say, the GBTC. Hold on. Weekly. Like that. That's mad recovery. What was it? There was something here on the daily. Yeah, there you go. And I remember looking at this ratio last summer saying, yeah, when is this going to turn around? Or especially with, or at least stop going up. I mean, that's a mad recovery where GLDs wants to go higher. I would say even off of that chart, getting back to 12. Okay, GLT over the GBTC is possible. So that's still favoring gold in a major way. I mean, look at the weekly here. How about just GBTC, guys? Why not? Here's the deal. And sometimes even looking at it, not looking at spot price, but looking at the ETF and thinking of it in a different price and looking at this from a harmonic pattern perspective. Yes, this was the greatest entry right there on the ETF. Massive Gartley, 2023 goes for almost, that was 8x. Okay, what about now? What's the trend? Where's the next jump on point? If I'm going to jump on, all right, because we're riding this channel, riding that uptrend here in GBTC, where, okay, we're scratching this. We need to put in a dot somewhere in here at the 65 level. Haven't yet. Need a dot like there, okay, here, even at the low. You need some kind of confirmation down here. It's not coming in. I mean, GBTC, still not above the 50. Still far from it. I mean, I would look for signs like that. Until then, I'm just assuming this is still just consolidating in a downtrend. And for me to even change my thought, we'd have to go all the way up here and we'd have to be well above the 50. So keep an eye on this, guys, on the GBTC. The final thing is under 62 or under 64. You got some real challenge to the whole uptrend. I'm watching it. In a way, I kind of want to be wrong about this because I don't want to see the deeper retrace in crypto. It would have market implications. But for now, I'm until I see something constructive on any of it, I'm going to stay the same. Just maintain the same perspective, consolidating until the next leg lower. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Paul Allen. You saw him drive a Porsche 959 without plates. Yeah. I don't know. Those guys are kind of crazy. Steve Jobs did that with getting the new car every 90 days so he didn't have to register his license plate or register his car. Is it really worth it? NASDAQ down 238 now. What are we doing? Yeah, I think NQ wants this. Where's our immediate? Where's the RTH shark? Hold on. Hold on, guys. Oh, it's on the hourly. Sorry. There it is. Oh, it's on the micro. Sorry. Sometimes I either the micro or the bigger contract. This is why we're not going gangbusters just yet. I wanted to start with this today, but listen, yesterday we clipped the hop up here at '07 on the shark. So I'm not saying all the way to target two, but the obvious areas are like fill the gap at 433. That could be today. And target two would be 25K, which was what I was saying. I thought we would come down and scratch 25K, like if we had that early profit taking. We're not really getting that. I mean, it's not. I actually thought the first week would be worse than it is, but it's still, we're not going gangbusters just yet. I think going into next week, okay, we're going to get out of this first full week of the year, which everyone considers critical. for going forward. And just use this pattern, 26 on the top side. And if we got down there to 25K, that might be an area where we'd finish off this consolidation, the one and the two. Yeah, and we are, look, it's not that bad. It's just not, everybody wants this thing to go now. It doesn't work like that. Probably after tomorrow's, depending on how tomorrow goes. I think the tariff decision is pretty big. But if we can get out that's on an hourly basis, that's RTH, regular trading hours, that would be the start of something. At least that would be the first oversold signal for 2026. And keep an eye on that. Listen, we started with the Dow today. I didn't even look at S&P futures, which is hilarious, because we scratched 7,000 for the first time. And look, on the hourly basis, that's a crab. So, and you're 69.54, probably do this. 69.18 and then go again. But we, 7K, just a number. We know what the bigger levels are. We're really looking for like 71.50. And on S&P futures, 1618 is 70.50 there. That's the larger expansion off of, remember that? Off the April low. So we still have some things to hit. I just think we're grinding higher. We're not exploding yet. You've had a lot of fundamental news, but just because people want it to pop off doesn't mean it's going to happen. We need signals. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean the rest of those, let's save that. Other semis, Broadcom, let's save that for Tuesday. I mean, just we're still range bound here, guys. I'm not too concerned. I'm just waiting for this early selling. Let's get that out of the way. Let's get an oversold signal on the either Dow, S&P. I mean, they're not triggering yet. Maybe NQ gives us an oversold dot, something on the daily. I think we need a little bit of time. Let's get through the first full week. Not as bad as I thought, but, we're not ready to really turn this around just yet. I do think higher, though. Guys, I'm waiting for the retracement. It's like last winter, but I don't think I'm looking for that big of a pullback. I'm just, give us something to pull back on. Register an oversold if it's 4 hour or if it's a daily, whatever. And then that's what we want to wait for. We're not there yet. We'll get there. All right? Yeah. All good. All right, guys. I hope this has been a better technical show. I'll be back Tuesday. You have any questions, get over to me on Discord. Okay, congratulations to the winner. Any other questions, go to harmonictrader.com. Everything else is there. Here's the Discord one last time. You want to get that free trial, all of that, you know where to go, please. Okay, more time on the charts, less time hawking. Guys, have a great one, all right? I'll see you back on Tuesday. Go Hurricanes. We'll see what happens tonight. I'll catch you, and go Eagles Sunday, too. I'll be back on Tuesday. Hit the like, subscribe on the way out. You get the notifications, but until then,